Well, we found a doctor. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to Heavenly Delusion episode 8. And like I said, we found a doctor, but it's not the one that Kiriko has been not the one that Kiriko has been searching for. But he does want our heroes to perform some kind of task. And we don't know the full details of such. But he wants them to kill something or someone or whatever. I guess we'll find out. But this was after they managed to kill the man-eater in the basement of this medical facility, I guess you would call it. While we had the entire, debate on, ethical, medical practices and everything with this, not cult, but rebel group who were, against them. A lot of crazy shit. But I guess we're just going to have to see what continues to happen. So let's give it a watch and get into this. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I don't want to I very specifically do not want to look things up because I don't want any possible spoilers. But that felt like very intentional. That end credit scene. That was the girl who was in the shower. The pic was taken of her and somehow sent to the other guy, the guy with the weird bowl cut. And I believe the guy with the weird bowl cut, I believe his hair was the same color as Dr. Usami's. That was them, wasn't it? Dr. Usami was bowl cut guy, and Hoshino, that's her. Names escape me, so if her name was said as Hoshino before, which it might have been, I just don't remember. But that seemed way too intentional. And the scene of them, of her being in this dark place, and then the hand coming to reach out for her, that was her after her death and him coming to join her, wasn't it? That is 100% what that read as to me. And if that's the case, because we know that others inside the in heaven were getting this disease, at least 2 others. We know that. And so it's not out of the question that that could be them. But that would also mean that the heaven scenes that we've seen do take place in the past. So those who are there now might not even be there, which means the one that Maru is looking for that's supposed to look like him, which we assumed, I assumed at least, was Tokyo. Is it still Tokyo? And is Tokyo still there? Or is something else going on? I don't know. Because it's like now I'm like I'm trying to piece it. It's like added an entirely new layer onto this mystery. And if what I was saying during the reaction is right about the possibility of that fish one being the frog girl, then that really does mean that the heaven scenes all take place in the past. So what is the connection between that then? That's that adds again another layer of like mystery and confusion to all of this that I just really don't know what that all means. And obviously, like I said, I'm not going to look things up because I don't want spoilers. But I mean, I could, I guess, look up from like a previous episode to see if that was like if they did say her name before. Either of their names. Because I'm not always the best at names. Sometimes I'll get names down. Sometimes I have trouble remembering them. So if it said her name was Hoshino before, and it said his name was Usami, like in heaven, it's like I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. And it's just like the thing is you can't 100% tell. Because it's like if it has been if that the heaven stuff is in the past, then that clearly happened like decades ago. But that would also imply that the heaven stuff happened before the end of the world, wouldn't it? Because this guy, like, was not young. He was not a young. Dr. Usami was not young. He looked like he was at least in his 30s or 40s. And it was impossible to tell with Hoshino. Just because of, her situation. And if he's in his 30s, like mid 30s or something, that could line up with happening like before everything went down. But that raises even more questions if that's the case. Because if this happened before everything went down, are they the cause of the apocalypse? Was whatever was going on in heaven, which, by the way, that raises more questions about what the fuck was happening there. All these kids and everything being raised in this science lab experiment. Were they the reason why everything went down? Because we know that disorder, the disease, like, transforms people into man-eaters now. And we saw that one person who had the disease, the alien kid, I can't remember their name, they hung themselves. And then we saw that the other one, Tameo, died, but was cremated. And the only remaining part was that one weird organ thing. And if that's the case, that's probably the thing inside that keeps reforming and turns them into the man-eaters, right? But they managed to cremate Tameo's body before the body could change, before the body could, like, transform. And so, at that point, they had not seen any of this. They didn't know. So maybe it's like because of whatever experimentations they were doing on these kids, that's what caused the man-eaters to eventually spawn and destroy the world. That's what I'm starting to think. And now, if the frog girl was the fish monster, the fish man eater, then I'm starting to wonder: are all of the man eaters we've seen others that we've seen in the heaven portion? Because that has to be like what you think at this point, right? I don't know. I genuinely like, this is all theory crafting basically. But it seems like that's the kind of path it's taking. But again, that raises so many questions. And we find out that Robin, who's apparently a doctor as well, I don't think it mentioned he was a doctor before, but apparently he was working with Dr. Usami for a short time and then just disappeared. I guess disappeared again. So at least 2 years ago, he was alive. I guess this is a case of he's just wandering around or something. But why? And then what about the other doctor, the mysterious one? What's his deal? Is he connected with Robin like more than we know? And I don't know. I'm like so flabbergasted by this. I'm so genuinely flabbergasted by all of this. Like, I had already been thinking that maybe the man eaters could have been humans at one time. Like, that had already crossed my mind for sure. But to get that confirmation so casually in this one, and then just everything else escalating with like the Livuman, and the leader apparently dying. Like, I get it, she fell and hit her head, sure, but it wasn't that far of a fall. She died from that. That feels like either she hit her head in the exact wrong place, or she already had something wrong with her. But this radicalized the rest of the Livuman. The one threw the rock, which, the one person on the bridge threw it back in retaliation, and that's what caused the leader to fall. But it's like that fully radicalized them into like turning from their like peaceful protesting ways to full on attacking. They've taken over the facility and run the rest of the people out, but there's still a man eater left in there. And so it's like they're gonna probably die. The people who are run out are now gonna be waiting for Dr. Usami for him to never come. Are Maru and Kiriko gonna tell them at least? It's just like this episode felt like an escalation. Like, there's certain episodes in various shows that just like escalate the scale of things and escalate the tone, turning it from something that's that can be either lighthearted or just less serious or less intense into something much more so. And in this case, it definitely took a big jump up, which is not 100% a surprise, because it's like clearly where last episode left off, it was clearly about to reveal some shit. I just wasn't expecting exactly what it was going to reveal. And the thing is though, going back to Dr. Usami and Hoshino, if that is them, there was that connection between them before too. So it's like the idea of them being in love makes sense. And even with the scene, the end credit scene of showing her like being super happy and while talking to Tokyo, it's like maybe that's after she and Usami fell in love. I'm like really thinking about this. It's like, again, I want to like find out, but it's like I kind of don't want to look anything up because I'm afraid of spoilers. Though looking back on previous episodes would not count as spoilers. I tend not to do that though, because it's like, oh, I don't want to overanalyze things and figure everything out ahead of time. Um, because especially because it's it's to the point where it's like a mystery series, so I want to be able to keep that mystery going to a degree. But at the same time, I feel like that was explicit confirmation that that was them, right? And with the fact that I'm already like so strongly believing and thinking about this, going back and just whether or not it's confirmed based on a previous episode's not even dialogue, just seeing whether what they called each other, what their names were. It's like that alone would not be spoilers, right? Like, you know, the funniest part is in a lot of series, a lot of cartoons, anime, etc., movies where like a character commits suicide. It's like usually it affects me a lot more because of my own past with depression and suicidal attempts. But I was so thrown off by the huge lore bits in this and the theory crafting that was going on in my head that it's like it really didn't affect me much at all. I mean, I kind of expected it based on like the reactions. I didn't think he was going to be able to live after that, considering literally everything was to keep her alive. Everything was for her. But at the same time, it's like it's just like he just did it. I'm just like, oh, okay. I'm not even really shocked. I'm just like, I just exist within that knowledge now. And then my mind instantly goes back to the theory crafting and thinking about what the fuck this entire episode is implying. It's just there's been episodes of shows that have really gotten me to think before, but this is probably one of the big ones. One of the those episodes that really just completely takes over my brain. And I want to make very clear that because Venom might you might bring it up. This is actually the exact reason why I don't binge shows. This is the exact reason why I would not, even if I had it downloaded, would not go into the next episode right away. This is something I really want to spend this next week thinking about. This is something I really want to consider going into the next episode. I don't know right now if I'm going to go back to the previous episodes to see like what they called each other in heaven to see if that was 100% them. If I do, I'll mention it in next week's reaction, maybe on the Discord. But I'm definitely going to do a lot of thinking about this because this raises just a lot of questions. This is a big step forward for the lore and depths and everything of this series. And yeah, it's like I would never want to continue right away after this. Not spending a week to think about this would just absolutely ruin the experience for me. So yeah, tell me what you thought down in the comments below. Obviously, do not spoil me. Like this is one of those occasions where I will probably ban you if you spoil me. Do not do it. I am very serious about this. I want to remain as spoiler free as possible because this is feels like it's too big. But let me know your thoughts nonetheless down below. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.